It was a fantastic weekend, and it was wonderful memories of a fantastic day over 2 decades before that. Hi, I'm Nani, and welcome to the Chronicles of Nani, Storytime Edition this week. First off, before I get started, I will remind you, as always, to subscribe if you like listening to the stories or the trains or any of the other stuff that the Chronicles of Nani has to offer. Welcome to the Cyber Coffee Shop, and I'm gonna wet my whistle. My steam train whistle. The mug is from the Streamliners at Spencer, which was a festival my husband and I went to in May of 2014, and it showcased the streamline engines that were popular on passenger trains from the 30s until Amtrak took everything over as far as passenger trains go in 1971. And it was a fantastic festival that we went to. Of course, the festival included, at least for us, that we needed to purchase the nighttime passes so that we could go in and take pictures of the train engines at night. With everything all lit up, and it was fantastic. Lots of rail fans. The nighttime shots really were rail fans that went there to take pictures, and tons of rail fans, old trains, new trains, even some steam. One of the special things at the North Carolina Transportation Museum that weekend for celebrating the Streamliners was the fact that they were officially announcing the restoration of the Norfolk and Western 611 engine, which is a steam-powered streamliner that I had ridden behind many years before that. I need to clear up one thing. A lot of people think that because I'm married to a big train buff, that I became interested in trains because my husband is so crazy about trains. That's not true. That couldn't be farther from the truth. It's more like he's my husband partly because he's interested in trains, because he chased trains and took photographs of trains, and it's something that I really wanted to do. I just didn't have anybody to do it with, and getting to do that and photograph trains and do train festivals and stuff, it is one of the things that made him appealing to me. My interest in trains is because of my dad, not my husband. When we were little and we went to visit my grandmother in Detroit, she lived in an area where there were lots of train tracks and a few different trains that used those tracks. And it was inevitable that we always got stopped by a train between home and getting to Nani's house. And my dad loved trains. He loved traveling by train, and he loved watching the trains. And one of the things that he did with my brother and me and of course Mom joined along, was we counted all the cars when we got stopped by a train. We counted all the cars. And as we got older, and it was no longer Daddy's helping us learn how to count, but then it was we started asking questions about what kind of cars those are, and some my dad knew, some my dad didn't know, because his love of trains really started with passenger trains, not so much freight trains. I became enamored of the freight trains because that's where my love of trains started. But we knew the names of different train companies, and we knew what kind of boxcars to look for, and logos and things that the trains carried, and that's really where my love of trains started. We rode trains whenever we were in Canada. We would go to Canada and board a train, one of the passenger trains, right over the border, and go to wherever we were going in Canada on the train as passengers. That was one of the things that Pop absolutely loved doing. And I will be honest, it was enjoyable to do that because we often got the first class seats where we had a meal on the train, and it was just a really relaxing and fun way to move around. When our family visited Italy, or as I call it, the fatherland, where he was born in 1979, we traveled by train a couple of different times. And the trains in Italy this is back about the time that I turned 13, because it was during that trip, visiting family and visiting my father's boyhood home, that we did some traveling and stuff. I don't know how different it is now, but the traveling that we did was just so much fun, and there were stops that you could lean out the window of the train and buy sandwiches off people selling them on the platform, which was something unheard of for train travel at home. So that was something that was a lot of fun too. But that is where my love of trains started, way back when I was a little kid, and my dad kept that going. My mother was a fan of boats, especially lake freighters. And so there were a lot of times that Mom and I would do the trade-off. If there was a train museum or something that I wanted to go see, she would go with me. And she got kind of interested in the rebuilding and things that were going on. And I got a little more interested in the lake freighters, because part of the trade-off is, and then we're going to have lunch someplace by a river where we can watch boats. And so that was a good trade-off for us. In 1992, I was a member of the Railroad Historical Society, and Michigan's Blue Water chapter was sponsoring a steam trip, and it was riding behind the Norfolk and Western 611 engine. And I knew it wouldn't take any more than presenting to my dad. Well, they're doing a train trip. It's a day trip behind a steam engine, and it's going from leaving Dearborn, Michigan, and going to Fort Wayne, Indiana, stopping for a while, and then going back to Dearborn, and it's a one-day trip. And I presented that to my father, and he said, "Where do we sign up?" So my dad and Mom and I, and we also invited my brother and my soon-to-be first sister-in-law. I say this now because I know that my current sis watches every week first, but that was Dave's practice. It was the sister-in-law that made him my great dad, but the practice that eventually made him a great husband for the right sister. But Pop said, sign us up, let's go. We made it a family day, and it was so much fun. When we were in Indiana, we had gone and had, because there was not enough of a layover, that we gone and had dinner, and we got back, and there was enough time that Deanna and I were sort of checking out the engine, and it was more that she was just hanging out with me to check out the engine, because I was the rail nut and I wanted to see everything. And the fireman in the engine invited us to come up in the engine, which was, yes please, can I go? So we got up in the cab of the engine, and he was telling us about his job and keeping the coal in the furnace to keep the engine going. And he asked us, do you want to see what hell looks like? And we're both sitting there with this dramatic intro, and he opens up the furnace, and it's just glowing fire, and it's like, wow. And that was interesting, and he was entertaining me as the, I want to know more, please tell me more. And one of my favorite photos from that trip is the two of us hanging outside the window of the engine, and you can see the iconic building in Fort Wayne through the window too, and it's just a fabulous photo and one of my favorites. And then on the ride back to Dearborn, there was a stop for a drive-by, so that rail nuts could get out and get pictures. And well, so yeah, my first pretty decent picture of a train moving was on that trip in 1992. I didn't meet my husband until 2005. So yeah, it's not his fault that I like trains at all. It was such a fantastic day. And then fast forward 22 years to that festival in Spencer, and seeing all of the streamline engines, and seeing the 611 again. And when they were doing the official dedication of, we're going to restore this engine and get it moving again, and I took lots of pictures of it, and I'm reliving this fantastic day that we rode behind this engine. And when we got back from that trip, my dad and I spent a lot of time on the phone just reminiscing about that day that we enjoyed riding behind that train, and all of the fun things of riding on the train, and things that we did in Indiana for the time that we had there. And it was just a fun day. And I knew that Pop would love it. It was really great to me that the rest of my family had a wonderful time too. So it was that they could share one of my strange, especially for a woman, strange obsessive hobbies. And it was just a fantastic day. Fast forward to the festival in Spencer, and it was fun watching all of the streamliners and the photographs at night, and being there with all kinds of other rail fans, and also being there with people that just like the pretty trains, or like the older trains, families bringing their kids. And they also did free trips that were part of the price of admission, but trips where you could do a run around through the museum on one of the passenger trains. And they had things set up so that you could get on the train in a wheelchair, and they could strap your wheelchair down and you're set to go. So we got to go on that trip too, and ride around the museum on the train behind one of the streamliners. And it was a fantastic weekend, and it was wonderful memories of a fantastic day over 2 decades before that. And it was just a great day. The day and the weekend, and I was just happy as a child spending the day around those beautiful trains and remembering the day riding behind the steam-powered 611 and looking at that train and being flooded with those memories. And it was just a fantastic weekend, which is why this is definitely one of my favorite mugs. And I drink out of it often because it reminds me of all that wonderful fun stuff again. So thank you for joining me on my little trip down memory lane. I hope you like some of the photos that went with it too, because definitely in line of some of my favorite photos in general, past and present. Well, as present as 2014 was. Share this and subscribe if you haven't subscribed. And we premiere every Friday at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I'm here all the time on YouTube. So please enjoy sharing some coffee with me and enjoy story time. And I'll definitely be here for you to see me next week. Thanks.